Presidential Memorandum, Ensuring the Enforcement of Federal Rule of Civil Procedure, 65C, March 11, 2025. Overview. This memorandum, addressed to the heads of executive departments and agencies, emphasizes the need for strict enforcement of Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65C, which requires that plaintiffs seeking injunctions against the federal government post security, a financial bond, to cover potential costs and damages if the injunction is later found to have been wrongly issued. The document critiques the increasing trend of activist organizations obtaining broad injunctions that interfere with executive policymaking, arguing that these lawsuits undermine the democratic process, waste taxpayer money, and divert Department of Justice resources from core law enforcement functions. Key issues addressed: increase in activist lawsuits and forum shopping. Activist organizations, backed by large donations and government grants, have been securing overbroad injunctions that obstruct federal policies. These organizations engage in forum shopping, repeatedly filing lawsuits in favorable courts to obtain favorable rulings. Many of these lawsuits are meritless, used for fundraising or political purposes, and lack consequences when they fail. Financial and administrative burden on taxpayers and DOJ. Taxpayer money is used to cover the costs when agency decisions, such as hiring, funding, or policy enforcement, are blocked by injunctions. The Department of Justice, DOJ, is forced to allocate significant resources to defending against frivolous lawsuits rather than focusing on public safety and national interests. The role of Rule 65C in preventing abusive litigation. Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65C requires that plaintiffs seeking an injunction or temporary restraining order, TERO, must post security a financial bond to compensate the enjoined party. In this case, the federal government, if the injunction is later overturned. Consistent enforcement of this rule ensures plaintiffs are held accountable for wrongful injunctions. Taxpayers are not financially burdened by improperly granted relief. The judicial process remains efficient and fair. Policy directive to federal agencies. The U.S. government will demand that plaintiffs seeking injunctions against federal policies must provide security, financial compensation, to cover costs, damages if the government is wrongly enjoined. Heads of executive agencies, in coordination with the Attorney General, must request courts to enforce Rule 65C in all applicable cases. Agencies must ensure that courts hold litigants accountable for wrongful injunctions and dissolve injunctions if plaintiffs fail to comply with Rule 65C. Requirements for agencies when seeking security under Rule 65C. When requesting security from plaintiffs, agencies must cite Rule 65C. Courts are required to mandate financial security in relevant cases. Justify the security amount. Agencies must present a reasonable assessment of the financial damages or costs incurred by the federal government due to the injunction. Enforce compliance. If plaintiffs fail to post security, the court must deny or dissolve the injunction. Significance and implications. Increased financial risk for litigants. Challenging federal policies. Organizations seeking injunctions against federal actions will face higher financial hurdles. Many activist lawsuits may be deterred due to the financial risk of posting security. Protection of executive decision-making. The policy reduces the ability of courts to interfere with executive policies through broad injunctions. Ensures that judicial interventions do not disrupt government operations without financial accountability. Potential political and legal controversy. Critics may view this policy as an attempt to limit judicial oversight of executive actions. Supporters will argue it curbs frivolous lawsuits and protects taxpayer funds. Conclusion. This memorandum enforces Federal Rule of Civil Procedure 65C by requiring litigants who seek injunctions against the U.S. government to post financial security to cover any government losses if the injunction is later found to be wrongful. The directive aims to prevent frivolous lawsuits, protect taxpayer money, and limit judicial overreach in executive policymaking. Subscribe for more!